Hello, I'm Paul Douglas. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at this, which is a Joyo Bantamp JaCkMan guitar amplifier. In conjunction with this, we're going to be putting it through one of these, which is a Harley Benton G112 cabinet, loaded with a Celestion Vintage 30 speaker. If I just talk a little bit about this little box of tricks, it's, as you can see, a lunchbox head format amplifier. It's a hybrid amp, so it has a valve, a tube, in the preamp section, and is fully solid state in the power amp section. There's no digital modelling going on here. It's purely analogue circuitry in the power section. Look at the front of the amp. We've got three knobs here. We've got gain, tone, and volume. All of those do pretty much what you'd expect them to. The volume is the master volume. It's a two-channel amplifier, so we've got a clean and a dirty channel, which you can switch between using this little mini rocker switch here. Other rocker switch there is just a power on-off switch. And the final rocker switch is a rather nice feature, which is a Bluetooth switch. So this amp is a Bluetooth receiver. So if you have some music on your phone or your tablet that you want to play along to, you can enable the Bluetooth on that device, enable the Bluetooth on here, and you can hear that music coming through the amplifier and the cabinet. If we flip it around, have a quick look at the back here, you can see we've got three jack sockets. There's an effects loop on it, so we've got send and return for the effects loop. There's no reverb on this amplifier. I mean, it's so small, I wonder if there's just physically not enough space to put a reverb circuit. So when I'm demoing this, I will be using my Boss RV6 reverb pedal to add a bit of ambience for us. And finally, obviously, we've got a speaker output there. One other thing on the back here, you can hopefully just about make out a mini jack socket there, which is a standard headphone socket. So you can listen to this late at night without disturbing the kids, the cat, the neighbours, whoever. Now, if you're not familiar with this range of amplifiers, the Joyo Bantamp range, there's about 5 or 6 of them in the range, and they're all designed to sound a bit like very famous, iconic amplifiers. So this one's called the JaCkMan. You probably can't make it out, but the C, the J, the C and the M of JaCkMan are emphasised in the lettering there. JCM? JCM, I wonder what that could be. So obviously this is aiming to sound a bit like a Marshall JCM. There's others in the range. There's one called the Zombie, which has got the M and the B emphasised, so that's going to be trying to sound like a Mesa Boogie of some kind. There's one called the Blue Jay, the B and the J emphasised, so that's trying to sound a bit like a Fender Blues Junior, etc. You get the idea. So hopefully we're going to be able to get some nice Marshall-like JCM-ish tones out of this thing. Now I've talked about this amplifier, I should talk very briefly about the cabinet we're going to put it through. This is a Harley Benton G112 Vintage cabinet. It's a 1x12. It's got a Celestion Vintage 30 speaker inside it. That's about all there is to say, really. This combination of head and cab here is very good value for money. Between the two of them, I think it costs about £250, which is excellent. Okay, that's quite enough waffling from me. Let's hear some sounds. So I'll just explain. I have my reverb pedal on the floor, which is going through the effects loop of the amp. It's a Boss RV6. I will use my little Ibanez mini tube screamer pedal just to push the front of the amp when I'm demonstrating some lead playing in a bit. So I'm going to start with the clean channel, and I'm going to try and demonstrate the cleanest sound that I possibly can. So I've turned the master volume up full, and I will be using the gain to control the volume. So Got the bridge pickup, sorry, the neck pickup. So we'll stay on the clean channel, but we'll turn down the master volume and we'll turn up the gain. So this is as dirty as the clean channel will go. Switch over to the neck pickup. Let's try the dirty channel. So I've switched to the dirty channel. I've got the gain at about 11 o'clock. The tone is about 10, 11 o'clock. Switch pickup. Little bit on the neck pickup. Staying on the dirty channel, this is as overdriven as it will go. I've got the gain on full. Switch over to the neck pickup. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to turn on my little Ibanez Mini Tube Screamer pedal and push the front of the amp a bit to give us a little bit more of an overdriven lead sound. So this is without the Tube Screamer. Put the Tube Screamer in. Try a different pickup and go on to position 2 on the Strat. The middle position. Let's try the neck pickup position. Okay, so now you've heard this thing, I'll just briefly discuss a few things that I like about it and a few things that I don't. I mean, in general, it's fantastic. It's a fantastic little amp that, for very little money, that sounds great. That one 12AX7 valve tube in the preamp section really sounds fantastic. Okay, it's not a pure valve amp. It's 20 watts, but it won't compete with a pure valve amp's 20 watts, but it is plenty loud. I mean, you've seen where I've had the volume on for most of this video, and that is loud. I mean, it goes way, way too loud for home use in this room. Certainly, I think you could rehearse with it. You'll get over a drummer, no problem. And probably, depending on circumstances, you can gig with it as well, especially if you're going to be miking it up and going through a PA. So, as well as the sound, which I think is fantastic, it's not a high gain amp, it's not really a metal amp, but the gain in it sounds fantastic. And for lead playing, especially if you push it with a Tube Screamer or similar type pedal, I think it's ideal for, you know, classic rock, blues. Now the weight, obviously you can see I'm holding this absolutely no problem in one hand, it hardly weighs anything. You could conceivably put it on your pedal board as a spare amp, maybe, just in case your regular gigging amp blows up or has other similar mishap at a gig. And of course the other thing is the price. I mean, it is dirt cheap. I mean, what I wrote down actually what it goes for at the moment. So I just checked the Tonal website before I started filming this video, and it's 157 euros at the moment, which is about 140 pounds, which is great. Now, in the interest of balance, I better say what I don't like about it, which isn't very much. The lack of a reverb circuit is slightly annoying, but you know, I'm nitpicking here for the price. I used my Boss RV6 throughout this demo for reverb. I think, you know, there are so many fantastic reverb pedals for not very much money on the market these days. It really would be, really nitpicking to criticise this, considering how much it costs for the lack of a reverb circuit. The other thing I don't like is the headphone socket. well, the socket itself is a mini jack socket. That's fine. It's the sound I don't like. It sounds, to my ears, really weedy and tinny, with no body or substance to it. It sounds absolutely nothing like it sounds coming out the speaker. I have sitting over there a Roland Microcube, which that amp doesn't sound anywhere near as good as this, but through the headphones that sounds miles better. So I probably wouldn't ever use the headphone socket on this because it just doesn't sound good enough for me. If I wanted to play late at night, what I usually do is I plug into the computer and go through Bias FX or Amplitude or something like that. I've tried it with several different pairs of headphones. I've got, several pretty high-end pairs of headphones down to really cheap earbud type phones, and they all sound terrible to me. So that's pretty much the only thing I don't like about this amp. Again, to me, it doesn't really matter because I'm not going to be using it like that anyway. In summary, if you wanted to buy a small format lunchbox head, such as this, you're not after a very, very high gain sound, but you want sort of Marshall type crunchy tones, I really don't think you can go much wrong with one of these, especially for the price. Let's talk a little bit about the cabinet as well. Again, for the price, I checked and wrote it down on the Thomann website before I started filming. Yep, so it's currently going for €129, which is about £115. Yeah, I mean, the first thing that you've got to like about this is the price, which I have no idea how they do it. Because if you were to buy a Celestion Vintage 30 speaker on its own, it costs more than buying one of these, which has a Celestion Vintage 30 speaker inside it. I have no idea how the economics of that works. Mass production, economies of scale, I don't know. But anyway, for the price, it's fantastic. It sounds absolutely great. You pair it with one of these or similar format lunchbox head amps, and for just about £250 you have yourself an excellent head and cab rig. The only questions possibly I have about this are the build quality. I mean, it's built okay, but you do wonder if it's being thrown from stage to van every night, how long it's going to last. And maybe the sound, maybe it sounds a little bit boxy, but I do think I'm being overly harsh here, because for the price, those criticisms just sort of float away. So if you're looking for a head and cab rig for not very much money, I really don't think you can go much wrong with this combination. It sort of blows me away now that the standard and the quality of equipment you can buy for very little money. I use this combination, this setup all the time because I absolutely love it, and I would have no hesitation in recommending it to anyone. I should just say that this is not any sort of sponsored video. I have no association with Joyo or Harley Benton. I'm merely demoing and reviewing these products because I like them. Thanks very much for watching. If you've liked this video, please feel free to share it and click the like button down there. Please subscribe to the channel. I've been Paul Douglas. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again in the next video. Cheers.